boom, 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 boom. That's Basil, bro. Great. Hey, it's Thundercloud here, the Australian Poetry Hall of Fame, washing away the garbage, leaving rainbows after rain. Let's have some fun and poetic linguistic games here on Chillin Tuesday. Yes, you know it. My mum calls me. Hey, you! Oh no, well maybe once upon a time she calls me James. Right, it's the 23rd of July 2024, Chillin Tuesday. And what have I got for you tonight? I've got Banjo Paterson from 1895 to read out to you. And that was the year that Banjo wrote Waltzing Matilda. Yes, it wasn't published until 1903, however he wrote it in 1895, so 8 years before it got out to the world. It was changed later when he sold it to the tea lady, yeah, she changed the words a little bit, but this is the original one I'll be reading out to you later, or singing to you. All right, what else? I might even pull up a few Thundercloud shorts from January 2023, and what else have I been writing recently? Maybe something of that I'll throw in there as well. All right, it's Chillin Tuesday, poet cast after all. And since I'm Thundercloud, why not start with the weather? Okay, today in Guyra, it was a top of 14.2, just balmy, absolutely balmy. So shorts and singlet weather. It got down to minus 1.7 overnight, although my thermometer out at the front door said -2 this morning. Overnight, it's going to be -1 tonight and feels like -6, they reckon. So from about midnight, there'll be a frost, a heavy frost right through until about 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning when the sun hits it, if the sun hits it, because I know the side of the building out there was frost there, half the day today and yesterday. It is the coldest room in Guyra, that room out there anyway. And so yeah, it'll be a heavy frost tonight, clear day tomorrow with 15-kilometre-hour winds and a top they're predicting of 13 degrees. So yeah, another balmy sunny day in Guyra for winter. All right, if this is your first time here, even if it's not, give it a thumbs up just down there while I'm talking away, and then also subscribe and click that notification bell up there, ding ding. You know, I can use corny language like every other podcaster, can't I? All right, we've got a few events coming up here at the Australian Poetry Hall of Fame, and most importantly, the Guyra, New South Wales heat of the Australian Poetry Slam on the 15th of August. But leading up to that, I've got poetry workshops every Wednesday night here at 6 o'clock, Poetry Slam workshops. And tomorrow night's one is on Poetry Slam performance and projecting your voice, etc., and a few techniques. So if you're interested, come on down to the Australian Poetry Hall of Fame in Guyra, and it's only $15 for the night, and that's from 6 o'clock. Then 7 o'clock, we've got Wednesday Words Open Mic Poetry Night. Everyone's welcome to come to that and have a listen. You don't have to be a poet or a panda. Just come and have a gander and have a listen and see how you'll be inspired on Wednesday Words. Every Wednesday night here at the Australian Poetry Hall of Fame in Guyra. Okay, what else? So yeah, they're the Poetry Slam workshops. Also, on the 14th of August, Rob Waters, last year's Australian Poetry Slam champion, he'll be here giving a workshop on the 14th, and then on the 15th, we've actually got the Poetry Slam, Australian Poetry Slam heat. So yeah, get your slam on. Anyone can do it. Like, all you got to do is just write your thoughts down for 2 minutes and just grab a pen, grab a piece of paper, write your thoughts down, what you're thinking about. Change your words if you don't like them, and you want to make connect with the audience and whatever, and then not read it out, learn it off by heart and deliver it with punch. Yeah, that's really much what you do. Also coming up here on the 16th of August, we've got a cabaret, The Flower and the Fiddle, which will be Andrew Claremont playing the fiddle and a number of other instruments, and Gold Heist. She'll be singing and playing the piano. So that's going to be a cracker of a gig with a meal, light meal included. And it's sit down at the table here at $35. And then the Armidale Chamber Choir Fiore Musicale is coming back here on the 21st of September with a Latin American eclectic kind of mix of chamber choir music. So I'm really looking forward to that. Stay tuned for the link down below. Everything else that I've mentioned, I'll be putting links in the description down below so you can check those out. All right, there's a few other things there happening, like I'm going to start to read some poetry first. So I'll have a sip from this Australian Poetry Hall of Fame in Guyra mug that's available from the merchandise from the web store of the Australian Poetry Hall of Fame.com.au, and that is one way you can support the Australian Poetry Hall of Fame in Guyra by buying some of our cool merchandise there. We're also on meanwhileinaustralia.com. Now, the first one I've got for you tonight is Johnson's Antidote, which is a poem about, well, a snake bite poison, actually. Down along the Snakebite River where the overlanders camp, where the serpents are in millions, all of the most deadly stamp, where the station cook in terror, nearly every time he bakes, mixes up among the doughboys a half a dozen poison snakes, where the wily free selector walks in armour-plated pants and defies the stings of scorpions and the bites of bulldog ants, where the adder and the viper tear each other by the throat. There it was that William Johnson sought his snakebite antidote. Johnson was a free selector, and his brain went rather queer, for the constant sight of serpents filled him with a deadly fear. So he tramped his free selection morning, afternoon and night, seeking for some great specific that would cure the serpent's bite, till King Billy of the Mookai, chieftain of the Flower Bag Head, told him, "S'pose and snake bite fella mostly drop down dead. S'pose snake bite old goanna, then you watch a while you see. Old goanna cure himself with eating little fella tree." "That's the cure," said William Johnson. "Point me out this plant sublime." But King Billy, feeling lazy, said he'd go another time. Thus it came to pass that Johnson, having got the tale by rote, followed every stray goanna, seeking for the antidote. Loafing once beside the river, while he thought his heart would break, there he saw a big goanna fighting with a tiger snake. In and out they rolled and wriggled, bit each other heart and soul, till the valiant old goanna swallowed his opponent whole. Breathless, Johnson sat and watched him, saw him struggle up the bank, saw him nibbling at the branches of some bushes green and rank, saw him happy and contented lick his lips as off he crept, while the bulging in his stomach showed where his opponent slept. Then a cheer of exultation burst aloud from Johnson's throat, Luck at last, he said, I've struck it. 'Tis the famous antidote. Here it is, the grand elixir, greatest blessing ever known. 20,000 men in India die each year of snakes alone. Think of all the foreign nations, Negro, Chow and Blackamoor, saved from sudden expiration by my wondrous snakebite cure. It will bring me fame and fortune in the happy days to be. Men of every clime and nation will be round to gaze on me. Scientific men in thousands, men of mark and men of note, rushing down the Mookai River after Johnson's antidote. It will cure delirium tremens when the patient's eyeballs stare at imaginary spiders, snakes, which really are not there, when he thinks he sees them wriggle, when he thinks he sees them bloat. It will cure him just to think of Johnson's snakebite antidote. Then he rushed to the museum, found a scientific man. Trot me out a deadly serpent, just the deadliest you can. I intend to let him bite me, all the risk I will endure, just to prove the sterling value of my wondrous snake bite cure. Even though an adder bit me, back to life again I'd float. Snakes are out of date, I tell you, since I've found the antidote. Said the scientific person, if you really want to die, go ahead, but if you're doubtful, let your sheepdog have a try. Get a pair of dogs and try it. Let the snake give both a nip. Give your dog the snake bite mixture. Let the other fellow rip. If he dies and yours survives him, then it proves the thing is good. Will you fetch your dog and try it? Johnson rather thought he would. So he went and fetched his canine, hauled him forward by the throat. Stump up, old man, says he. We'll show them we've the genuine antidote. Both the dogs were duly loaded with the poison gland's contents. Johnson gave his dog the mixture, then sat down to wait events. Mark, he said, in 27 minutes Stump'll be a rushing round, while the other wretched creature lies a corpse upon the ground. But alas for William Johnson, ere they watched the half-hour spell, Stumpy was as dead as mutton. The other dog was live and well, and the scientific person hurried off with utmost speed, tested Johnson's drug and found it was a deadly poison weed. Half a tumbler killed an emu, half a spoonful killed a goat. All the snakes on earth were harmless to that awful antidote. Down along the Mookai River, on the overlanders' camp, where the serpents are in millions, all of the most deadly stamp, wanders daily William Johnson, down among those poisonous hordes, shooting every stray goanna, calling them black and yellow frauds, and King Billy of the Mookai, caging for the cast-off coat, somehow seems to dodge the subject of the snakebite antidote. That was published in the Bulletin on the 26th of January 1885. The next one here is a short story concerning a dog fight, but I'm going to read the poetry out. And this is Castlebar, written in 1895. Bidding good morrow to all our cares, riding along with a joyful heart. Little we reck of the world's affairs, all that we ask is a decent start. Though the jumps are big and the distance far, we will get to the finish on Castlebar. Little Blue Peter goes sailing by. Little Blue Peter may stand or fall, for his rider reckons no man can die till his day comes round, so he chances all. And away to the front where the good ones are, go Little Blue Peter and Castlebar. Bay and chestnut and brown and black, I hear in the timber their hoof beats drum. As I clear the fence on that prospect track, I turn in the saddle and watch them come. But the chestnut horse with the big white star, why isn't he following Castlebar? And a dear little woman with eyes of blue, with lissom figure and easy grace, I turn in the saddle and long for you as the field sweeps on at a rattling pace. But I know that away in the heights afar, your heart is following Castlebar. That's a quaint little poem about horses. Here's Luck is the next one. A toast at a hunt club dinner. Oh yeah, okay, just here's Luck. It chanced one day I watched a steeplechase, and one horse singled out and led them all across the fences at a rattling pace until he hit a fence and took a fall. His rider laughed and muttered with a smile, well, anyway, I let him for a while. And this, the text, is for my theme tonight, a moral that the wisest men have sung. A life is very short and swift the flight of time. So comrades, go it while young. And when old age comes on, you'll find it good to think you made the running while you could. There's nothing too solid or too high for some of you to take and chance a spill. But we must funk the fences by and by, when limbs grow stiff and hands have lost their skill. In wintry age, we'll seek the hearthstone's blaze, so let us make the most of youth's bright days. So now, my friends, good luck, and may you keep stout hearts and true and honest kindly mirth, when drawing nearer to the last great leap that lands us on the other side of earth, where many a gallant horseman and brave steed has gone before to give us all a lead. Here's Luck, written in 1895. All right, let's read you a few Thundercloud Littlies, hey? These are a bunch of what I call Change Your Mind Littlies, which I wrote back in January 2023. Light without, inner light within. The clothes show off, but hide the skin. Stop the light without, stop the light within. That's right. Next one. Happy birthday to you and you and you. Every hour, minute, second of the day, you and you, and this is true. Yep, these are Change Your Mind Littlies. Here's one. If you've got a mind that's giving you trouble, change your bloody mind and there'll be no trouble. Yep. If you're carrying a burden of shame, blame, hate, forget about others, stand up straight. Yep. We come from dust, go back to dust. In between, we grow and rust. In fear and hate, we disintegrate. In love and gratitude, we are immune and we rejuvenate. If only would some self-regulate before it's too late. The next one. I once was warned. Pride is foolish, leaving one open to scorn. Yep. Next one. Change your mind and you'll have a better time. Okay, there we go. There's some Change Your Mind Littlies of Thundercloud from, yeah. Oh, look, I've got more here. Humans and rabbits live by daily habits. Some habits serve. Everyone gets what they deserve. Another one. There's a choice between get up and go, choosing where your energy will flow, whether it's fast or slow, or if you'll do nothing, not go and say no. Pains of the past can be wiped like an arse. Change how you feel and heal. Change Your Mind Littlies, Thundercloud Quotes, written on January the 29th, 2023. It would have been the day after my birthday. Yeah, right. Let's get back to some Banjo Paterson. Don't forget the Australian Poetry Film Festival and Film Competition. It's open for submissions right now on Film Freeway. There are 3 categories: Best Student Film, Poetry Film, Best Australian Poetry Film, and Best Australian Bush Poetry Film. You'll see the link down beneath in the description or over there, depending what you're watching this on. And also, I'm raising funds on through a GoFundMe. Yes, I'm raising funds through a GoFundMe for the Australian Poetry Film Festival competition, so that we can offer prizes to the poets. So if you could donate, it would be much appreciated. Again, the link is down in the description there or there. You can also donate to the Australian Poetry Hall of Fame using PayPal or even cryptocurrencies. Yes, I have Australian Poetry Hall of Fame wallet addresses down below as well. So if you want to send Bitcoin or XRP or any other coins to the Australian Poetry Hall of Fame, there's the link down there as well. And don't forget the meanwhileinaustralia.com shop, which has a heap of merchandise all to do with Australia and stuff. And some of it's funny, some of it's like touristy, and all of it's interesting. Of course, that link is also down there below as well. All right. Don't forget the Saturday morning market here every Saturday morning from 8 till 12:30, and it's only $10 if you want to have a stall here as well. So you can, make your produce, grow your produce, make your craft, whatever, and bring it here and sell it to the tourists coming to town, or the visitors, or the locals, or whoever. And that reminds me of one more thing. Don't forget to shop locally, because it's really important more than ever now that we support our local retailers, because more and more people are going online, and local retailers can offer you better prices when locally made, keeping the money in the local economy. And it's also, supporting entrepreneurial spirit, which is very important, because without entrepreneurs and local businesses bringing value to the marketplace, well, we have to travel miles and distances and order everything online. We don't want that, do we? No, we would love to support local businesses here, particularly at the Australian Poetry Hall of Fame, always supporting local people and local businesses, which is why we have the market and local poets. Here we go. We've got a prelude here. This is written at the Snowy River on the 20th of August, 1895. Prelude by Banjo Paterson. I've gathered these stories afar in the wind and the rain, in the land where the cattle camps are on the edge of the plain, on the overland routes of the west, when the watches were long. I have fashioned in earnest and jest these fragments of song. They are just the rude stories one hears in sadness and mirth, the records of wandering years, and scant is their worth, though their merits indeed are but slight. I shall not repine if they give you one moment's delight, old comrades of mine. Old comrades of mine, that's a funny line, isn't it? The daylight is dying. is the next one. The daylight is dying away in the west. The wild birds are flying in silence to rest. In leafage and frondage where shadows are deep, they pass to its bondage, the kingdom of sleep, and watched in their sleeping by stars in the height, they rest in your keeping, O wonderful night. When night doth her glories of starshine unfold, 'tis then that the stories of bushland are told. Unnumbered I hold them in memories bright, but who could unfold them or read them or write? Beyond all denials, the stars in their glories, the breeze in the miles, a part of these stories, the waving of grasses, the song of the river that sings as it passes forever and ever, the hobble chains rattle, the calling of birds, the lowing of cattle, must blend with the words. Without these indeed you would find it ere long, as though I should read the words of a song that lamely would linger when lacking the rune, the voice of the singer, the lilt of the tune, but as one half hearing an old time refrain with memory clearing, recalls it again. These tales roughly wrought of the bush and its ways may call back a thought of the wandering days, and blending with each in the memories that throng, there happily shall reach you some echo of song. And that was published in the Snowy River on the 20th of October 1895. Published or written, I'm not sure. Oh, the next one's Jim Carew. Born of a thoroughbred English race, well proportioned and closely knit, neat of figure and handsome face, always ready and always fit, hard and wiry of limb and thew. That was the ne'er-do-well, Jim Carew. One of the sons of the good old land, many a year since his like was known. Never a game, but he took command, never a sport, but he held his own. Gained at his college a triple blue, good as they make 'em, was Jim Carew. Came to grief, was it card or horse? Nobody asked and nobody cared. Ship him away to the bush, of course. Ne'er-do-well fellows are easily spared. Only of women a tolerable few sorrowed at parting with Jim Carew. Gentleman Jim on the cattle camp, sitting his horse with an easy grace, but the reckless living has left its stamp in the deep drawn lines of that handsome face, and a harder look in those eyes of blue, prompt at a quarrel, is Jim Carew. Billy the Lasher was out for gore, 12-stone navvy with a chest of hair. When he opened out with a hungry roar on a 10-stone man, it was hardly fair. But his wife was wise if his face she knew. By the time you were done with him, Jim Carew, Gentleman Jim in the stockman's hut, works with them, toils with them side by side. As to his past, well, his lips are shut. Gentleman once, say his mates with pride. And the wildest cornstalk can ne'er outdo in the feats of recklessness, Jim Carew. What should he live for? A dull despair? Drink his master and drag him down? Water of Lethe that drowns all care? Gentleman Jim has a lot to drown, and he reigns as king with a drunken crew, sinking to misery, Jim Carew. Such is the end of the ne'er-do-well, Jim the boozer, all down at heel. But he straightens up when he's asked to tell his name and race, and a flash of steel still lightens up in those eyes of blue. I am, nah, I was Jim Carew. Yeah, melancholy kind of a poem, that one. A Swagman's Rest. We buried old Bob where the bloodwoods wave. At the foot of the Eagle Hawk, we fashioned a cross on the old man's grave for fear that his ghost might walk. We carved his name on a bloodwood tree with the date of his sad decease, and in place of died from effects of spree, we wrote, may he rest in peace. For Bob was known on the overland, a regular old bushwag, tramping along in the dust and sand, humping his well-worn swag. He would camp for days in the riverbed and loiter and fish for whales. I'm into the swagman's yard, he said, and I never shall find the rails. But he found the rails on that summer night, for a better place or worse, as we watched by turns in the flickering light with an old black gin for nurse. The breeze came in with the scent of pine. The river sounded clear. When a change came on and we saw the sign that told us the end was near. But he spoke in a cultured voice and low. I fancy they've sent the route. I once was an army man, you know, though now I'm a drunken brute. But bury me out where the bloodwoods wave, and if ever you're fairly stuck, just take and shovel me out of the grave, and maybe I'll bring you luck. For I've always heard, here his voice fell weak, his strength was well nigh sped. He gasped and struggled and tried to speak, then fell in a moment dead. Thus ended a wasted life and hard, of energies misapplied. Old Bob was out of the swagman's yard and over the great divide. The drought came down on the field and flock, and never a raindrop fell, though the tortured moans of the starving stock might soften a fiend from hell. And we thought of the hint that the swagman gave when he went to the great unseen. We shovelled the skeleton out of the grave to see what his hint might mean. We dug where the cross and the grey posts were. We shovelled away the mould, when sudden a vein of quartz lay bare, all gleaming with yellow gold. 'Twas a reef with ne'er a fault nor balk that ran from the range's crest, and the richest mine on the Eagle Hawk is known as the Swagman's Rest. Snowy River, 20th of October, 1895. That's what it was published in. The Wind's Message. There came a whisper down the Bland. The Bland is a county in the southern districts of New South Wales. There came a whisper down the Bland between the dawn and dark, above the tossing pines, above the river's flow. It stirred the boughs of giant gums and stalwart iron bark. It drifted where the wild ducks played amid the swamps below. It brought a breath of mountain air from off the hills of pine, a scent of eucalyptus trees in honey-laden bloom, and drifting, far away along the southern line, it caught from leaf and grass and fern a subtle, strange perfume. It reached the toiling city folk, but few there were that heard The rattle of their busy life had choked the whisper down. And some but caught a fresh blown breeze with scent of pine that stirred, a thought of blue hills far away beyond that smoky town. And others heard the whisper pass but could not understand the magic of the breeze's breath that set their hearts aglow, nor how the roving wind could bring across the overland a sound of voices silent now and songs of long ago. But some that heard the whisper clear were filled with vague unrest. The breeze had brought its message home they could not fixed abide. Their fancies wandered all the day towards the blue hill's breast, towards the sunny slopes that ride along the riverside. The mighty rolling western plains are very fair to see, where waving in the passing breeze the silver miles stand. But fairer are the giant hills, all rugged though they be, from which two great rivers rise that run along the bland. Oh, rocky range and rugged spur and river running clear, that swings around the sudden bends with swirl of snow-white foam. Though we, your sons, are far away, we sometimes seem to hear the message that the breezes bring to call the wanderers home. The mountain peaks are white with snow that feed 1,000 rills. Along the river bank, the maize grows tall on virgin land, and we shall live to see once more those sunny southern hills, and strike once more the bridle track that leads along the Bland. And the Bland, as I said, is a county in the southern districts of New South Wales. Again, published in the Snowy River on the 20th of October, 1895. Oh, Under the Shadow of Kiley's Hill is the next one by Banjo Paterson I've got for you. And then I'll do some of my own. Under the Shadow of Kiley's Hill. This is a place where they all were bred. Some of the rafters are standing still. Now they are scattered and lost and dead. Every one from the old nest fled out of the shadow of Kiley's Hill. Better it is that they ne'er came back. Changes and chances are quickly rung. Now the old homestead has gone to wrack. Green is the grass on the well-worn track, down by the gate where the roses clung. Gone is the garden they kept with care, left to decay at its own sweet will. Fruit trees, flower beds eaten bare, cattle and sheep where the roses were, under the shadow of Kiley's Hill. Where are the children that throve and grew in the old homestead in days gone by? One is away on the far Carew, watching his cattle the year long through, watching them starve in the droughts and die. One in the town where all cares are rife, wary with troubles that cramp and kill, fain would be done with the reckless strife, fain would go back to the old bush life, back to the shadow of Kiley's Hill. One is away on the roving quest, seeking his share of the golden spoil, out in the wastes of the trackless west, wandering ever he gives the best of his years and strength to the hopeless toil. What of the parents, the unkempt mound, shows where they slumber united still. Rough is their grave, but they sleep as sound, out on the range as on holy ground, under the shadow of Kiley's Hill. Again, written and published in the Snowy River, 20th of October. So the next one I've got for you here is Waltzing Matilda. Before I do Waltzing Matilda, I'm going to do one more of my own. This is The Lame Carrot by Thundercloud, written on the 31st of January 2023. The Lame Carrot. There once was a carrot that didn't taste great. It was always left on the plate. It was limp and floppy, and nobody would have it. It was even rejected by a snowman and a rabbit. This lame carrot was tasteless and sad because no one wanted to eat a carrot that tasted bad. But he bagged the other vegetables, but they didn't care. They got eaten, and he was always left there, until he got so rotten that one day he was tossed. But even the worms wouldn't eat him in the compost. They put him in a bird cage. He was rejected by the parrot. That's the story of the tasteless, unsavoury, lame carrot. The lame carrot. Okay, that's the lame carrot. I've got a follow-up to it. There was a rainbow parrot whose name was Bob. Bob worked as a clerk in a government job. He'd do and say what he was told. He was a parrot. Bob was controlled with a stick and a carrot. Bob wrote copy, government propaganda. He was ordered from above to call an elephant a panda. And this didn't sit right in Bob Parrot's head. He thought about it all night laying in his bed. So one day, Bob questioned what he had to say. So the government reduced Bob's carrot pay. This just made Bob resentful. He got into a rage. Then the government locked Bob in a cage. Bob was a parrot who wouldn't blindly obey. He thought for himself, so they locked him away. The evidence they had against Bob was damning. The government sent Bob for reprogramming. Bob bit through the lock, escaped and flew away, yelling, I can think for myself, stuff, your carrot, disobey. Bob loved his new freedom and flew very high, went to sleep in a tree and woke up as a butterfly. So, question what you're told, or is not what it seems. You could be believing in a butterfly's dreams. Yeah, so there you go. All right, that's the last one of my Thundercloud from 2023 poetry. All right, the next one I've got, Waltzing Matilda. It was originally called Carrying a Swag. Well, that's its subtitle, yeah. And the whole reason for that is because a Matilda was the slang name for a bedroll. Now that came from a lot of the German immigrants who, back in the day in Germany, when they would go on war campaigns, they would take with their armies prostitutes, and these prostitutes were called Matildas, or Matilde, and as slang. And so in Australia, the swag, or the bedroll that the swagman would carry, would be called a Matilda. Get your bedroll, get your Matilda. And waltzing was just walking along the wallaby track, or as it was known, the track. So here we go, Waltzing Matilda, the original version by Banjo Paterson, published in 1895. So I'll do my best version of it. Oh, there once was a swagman camped in the billabongs, under the shade of a coolabah tree, and he sang as he looked at the old Billy boiling, who'll come a waltzing Matilda with me? Who'll come a waltzing Matilda, my darling? Who'll come a waltzing Matilda with me? Waltzing Matilda, leading a water bag. Who'll come a waltzing Matilda with me? Up came the jumbuck to drink at the waterhole. Up jumped the swagman and grabbed him in glee. And he sang as he put him away in his tucker bag, "You'll come a waltzing Matilda with me. Oh, who'll come a waltzing Matilda, my darling? Who'll come a waltzing Matilda with me? Waltzing Matilda and leading a water bag. Who'll come a waltzing Matilda with me?" Up came the squatter a-riding his thoroughbred. Up came policemen 1, 2 and 3. "Whose is the jumbuck you've got in the tucker bag? You'll come a waltzing Matilda with me." Up sprang the swagman and jumped in the water hole, drowning himself by the coolabah tree, and his voice can be heard as it sings in the billabongs. "Ooh, come a waltzing Matilda with me. Ooh, come a waltzing Matilda, my darling. Ooh, come a waltzing Matilda with me. Waltzing Matilda and leading a water bag. Ooh, come a waltzing Matilda with me." Yeah, a classic Australian song, Waltzing Matilda. The next one here. They met in the hall at the charity ball. That's the title. They met in the hall at a charity ball, patronised by the pink of society. They were both in a state I grieve to relate that the clergyman calls insobriety. He wanted to know if she was comme il faut, or whether her manner was shady-like, and he wondered in doubt as she lowered a stout in a style more proficient than ladylike. He asked might he call the night after the ball if she'd pardon his impetuosity. She embraced him and said, "You must come home to bed just to show there is no animosity." She sang him a song as they rattled along. There were verses a little bit blue in it, and a story she told of adventures of old with a queer situation or two in it. When they went to repose and he threw off his clothes in his anxious when they went to repose and he threw off his clothes in his anxious excitement to doss it, he was knocked out when she bid him fork out 2 quid just to show there was no animosity. 'Twas a little bit rough, but he forked out the stuff, though he thought it was very absurd of her. Then she went down below for a moment or so, and that was the last that he heard of her. For a big-shouldered lout came and lumbered him out and used him with awful ferocity. He was very much hurt, but they chucked him his shirt just to show there was no animosity. Oh, dear me. 2 quid, £2. That's quite a lot, yeah. Back in 1895. All right. Brumby's Run. Here we go. An Aboriginal term for a wild horse is Brumby. At a recent trial in the Sydney Supreme Court, in Sydney, the Supreme Court judge hearing of Brumby's horses, asked, "Who is Brumby, and where is his run?" "It lies beyond the western pines toward the sinking sun, and not a survey mark defines the bounds of Brumby's run. On odds and ends of mountain land, on tracts of range and rock, where no one else can make a stand, old Brumby rears his stock. A wild, unhandled lot they are, of every shape and breed. They venture out 'neath moon and star, along the flats to feed. But when the dawn makes pink the sky and steals along the plain, the Brumby horses turn and fly towards the hills again. The traveller by the mountain track may hear their hoofbeats pass and catch a glimpse of brown and black dim shadows on the grass. The eager stock horse pricks his ears and lifts his head on high, in wild excitement when he hears the Brumby mob go by. Old Brumby asks no price or fee o'er all his wide domains. The man who yards his stock is free to keep them for his pains. So off to scour the mountain side with eager eyes aglow, to strongholds where the wild mobs hide, the gully rakers go. A rush of horses through the trees, a red shirt making play, a sound of stock whips on the breeze, they vanish far away. Ah, me, before our day is done, we long with bitter pain to ride once more on Brumby's run and yard his mob again. And that was published in the Bulletin on the 21st of December, 1895. All right, well, that's it for me from the Australian Poetry Hall of Fame, the Seahorse Medicine Cafe. Yes, the only vegetarian and vegan cafe in all of Gyra and for probably 100 miles around in a diameter. So if you are into healthy food, check out the menu online. It's good food. Yeah, I make it. Yeah. Hey Hell and Booligal. That's where I'll be starting next week with Chillin Tuesday. Hey, look, I will see you tomorrow night for Wednesday Words, and hopefully you can make it down here for the Australian Poetry Slam workshop that I'm holding tomorrow night on how to perform poetry slam. All right, I am Thundercloud. I am out of here. I am quite loud, and I am going to see you later.